we have joining us now a friend of mine who ruined my childhood, first of all. We'll get to that. But he's a pro football Hall of Famer. His team is playing tonight on Monday Night Football, Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the Lions. It is Ronde Barber.
Hey.
Hello, Ronde.
Hello, Colleen. And just to be clear, I am a Pro Football Hall of Famer because I ruined your childhood.
Yeah. Shut down the vet.
Okay, so you should be thanking me somehow, maybe? I don't
Somehow,
know. Maybe
some
I
way,
get a
yes.
gold jacket here, but Ronde, we get a chance to work together at the Super Bowl. We get to work at these international games. Ronde and I were together in Ireland for the Dublin game, which was so much fun. But I think maybe my greatest memory working together with Ronde was when the Eagles won the Super Bowl and he said, "Fly, Eagles, fly." And this was a moment of weakness, I think, for him, but I'm not really sure. How does it stick with you now, Ronde?
Yeah. Unfortunately, our producer and my co-host that day were enormous Eagles fans. And, I got caught up in the moment. Temporary loss of judgment, and
okay.
I knew that I would make y'all both extremely happy by anointing the newly dominant Eagles Super Bowl champions with the "Fly Eagles Fly." So yeah, there is audio out there of me saying that. Hopefully, it's been burned.
He tried to get it destroyed. I don't know why. He is the most team player man out there, and so Ronde. Looking ahead to tonight and this Bucs team who Baker Mayfield and the offense, this team in general, has dealt with these injuries. They've been figuring out ways to score touchdowns and get the offense moving in games without Mike Evans, without Chris Godwin. Tonight, Mike Evans is likely to play, but Emeka Egbuka, he is more of a game time decision, although it sounds like they're pretty optimistic about him playing. We've seen guys like Tez Johnson emerge, who it's the purest thing to me that he thought the MVP chants were for him instead of Baker Mayfield after he scored his first touchdown in the NFL. And I just love the fact that he also leaned into it and was like, yeah, how about this, guys? I thought those were for me. It makes me feel like one day maybe they will be for you, Tez.
Right.
So how does this team, what do you think going into tonight? How does this offense get going? And what are your expectations for Baker Mayfield against this banged up Lions defense?
Right. I'm going to put those comments by Tez as just a youthful exuberance after scoring your first touchdown ever. So, I mean, I would be excited too. I remember my first touchdown. I didn't get MVP chance, but I had that same feeling like the world is on fire and I'm leading the charge. So this team is fun to watch, Colleen, as you know, and it's largely because of Baker, but also because of the job that Josh Grizzard's doing on offense, not adjusting the offense because your star players are out. I mean, Mike's been out since the Jets game, I think. And it's allowed some young guys who we didn't expect to play or have to play early come in and shine. Like you mentioned Tez Johnson. You could easily have said Cam Johnson, who was a superstar a year ago in training camp and then got hurt. We never heard from him again. Now all of a sudden he's getting a chance to play, and he's showcasing the ability that we thought he had a year ago. So it's just fun to watch them all kind of accept the role of filling in for our superstars. I mean, we got 3 receivers, including Chris Godwin. You mentioned, Emeka and Mike, but Chris Godwin's been out most of the year. He's only played 2 games this year, and it's forced some other guys to step up and play, and they have. And certainly all that credit goes to Baker because Baker's playing like the MVP. I mean, there's just so many examples of why he's the best player in football right now. But I do give credit to the way that Josh Grizzard has evolved. This is his first year calling plays, man. Like he was a pass game coordinator last year with Liam Cohen. Before that, he was basically like an intern in Miami that had a couple opportunities to stay in the league, and then we hire him, and you see his process evolve over the course of the year, and he's getting really good at it, man. It's fun to watch. So I don't anticipate this Lions defense that's beat up tonight to be able to just stop this Bucs offense because they got some injuries as well.
Okay, well, let's flip it around to the other side to the Bucs defense. Todd Bowles does such a great job, and it's funny because I feel like this team has really taken the personality of Baker Mayfield, but Baker Mayfield's personality is so different from Todd Bowles, and you can see the two of them, both of their influence throughout this entire team. So this defense has to deal with players like Amon-Ra St. Brown. How does the defense slow down a player of his caliber, and how did your defense do that against top receivers when you were playing?
Yeah, well, we very rarely changed what we did on defense. Todd Bowles' defense, completely different. He's got so many variations and iterations to his coverage schemes, and what he asks his players to do. Look, there's some really good players on this Bucs defense. Zion McCollum was hurt last week. He's hopefully coming back. I don't know what his status is, but I think he's coming back. We drafted a kid. His name is Jacob Parrish out of Kansas State. He has done an awesome job at nickel, and he's been starting outside with some of the injuries as well. That'll be the main matchup. As I'm watching this game, I'm gonna say to myself, how is Jacob Parrish faring against Amon-Ra St. Brown, either outside or in the slot? Because obviously he is their go-to guy, but in terms of throwing the football. But if I was preparing for this Lions offense, there's one guy I'm looking at. It's Jahmyr Gibbs. Like there's one guy that could just wreck your day, and it's him. Not only because he can catch the ball out of the backfield, it's just his explosiveness. And I look at the matchup there, and you're saying, who's dealing with him? Is it Tyke Smith? Is it Antoine Winfield? Is it Levante David or Servassier Dennis, the two linebackers? And the advantage physically with all four of those guys is with Jahmyr Gibbs. So that he's the guy that you have to really take care of. Jared Goff is having another great year. I think he's third in touchdown passes right now. It's beginning because he has all those weapons. You always like to think games like this turn into shootouts and the team with the last possession wins. I would not be shocked if that's how this one ends up tonight.
Yeah, Ronde, good to see you, man. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Why does Jared Goff not get enough love nationally?
Yeah, because he failed once in the mind of his head coach in Los Angeles. When you're a high draft pick and you go to same reason Baker does it or hasn't gotten it. You get drafted high, you fail at the team that drafted you, and the narrative just sticks with you that you can't play, which is completely ridiculous because Jared Goff took them to a Super Bowl and lost, right? But then he comes to Detroit and he turns into the dude that you thought he was, right? When they drafted him, with a great surrounding supporting cast, a great team surrounding him and buying into him. I don't know. I mean, people that know. You know what I mean? I watch enough football. I know how good he is. I would never say he wasn't good. Does he excite you all the time? No. I mean, he's not Baker Mayfield. He's not like Josh Allen. He's not lighting up the field with these extraordinary type of plays. But the consistency and the level of confidence that he's playing with these past couple of years, dude. I mean, he is what he is. He's one of the top quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah, it's so interesting to this game and this quarterback matchup because you're right. The temperament of both guys couldn't be more opposite.
Right. Baker's different. Colleen just mentioned, but the difference between Baker and Todd Bowles. Their temperaments are actually pretty similar. Todd's a tough dude, man. Like that quiet, calm demeanor that you get, that you see in the press conferences, where he's just kind of looks like he's completely uninterested, is like there's an undercurrent of like rage there that never comes out unless you're on the wrong side of it. But when you see it, you're like, oh, that's it. So Todd likes a team that's tough, has a tough mentality, can deal with anything. Adversity is like part of the growth process, and that's what Baker has brought. So they're actually very similar. Colleen, he's got that
fire under the surface, just bubbling.
Yes, but Baker's just is unmasked always.
Yes, exactly.
It's just right there. It's on his sleeve.
Well,
all the time.
Todd Bowles sometimes has that Caldwellian stare.
Yes, exactly. And he's like sort of soft spoken.
Yeah.
So but you know that he is like, he's a killer. Like in terms of his defense, he is going to go out there and he is going to try and wreck a game plan.
Right.
But just
a man of few words. That's all it is.
You know what? It doesn't take many words, honestly. TJ?
What's up, Ronde? How you doing?
What's up, man?
How you doing, bro? A guy that I'm a big fan of, and I know of us here are fans of, is Mike Evans.
Yeah.
He's been as consistently great as any receiver that there's ever been, year after year after year after year. What do you kind of contribute that consistency that he has to? Because he's had some great quarterbacks and then he's had some not so great quarterbacks, and yet year after year, you know, unless injury hit like this year, you knew what you were going to get out of Mike each and every year, and it just never falters.
Right. Well, he had Jameis, he had Mike Glennon, I think, at the very beginning. You know, he had Tom Brady then, and now he's got Baker.
He was pretty good.
Yeah, he was pretty good. Mike, and love Mike to death. He's probably the best offensive player we've ever had in team history. And I don't think I'm saying that lightly. In fact, the 50 greatest Bucs, he finished above me at number 4. So
who's counting? I mean,
who's counting? I'm not paying attention. He's bigger, and just being around this team for all of his years, obviously, he's bigger, faster, and more competitive than you think. And I think people that don't really know Mike, and he's, you know, sometimes you get lost down here in Tampa. You know, it's a middle-sized market. You know, other than our Super Bowl year, prior to his Super Bowl year, people just didn't really pay attention to what he was doing. But we've seen it. I mean, he's a different type of receiver. Because he's big, you don't think he can run. I can't tell you how many times I've seen takeoffs go by corners, and they're just like, oh damn, this dude can run. You know, he like can really run. But I think what really separates him is his like willingness to play through anything. You know, he's had this chronic hamstring deal. Like it's every year. Like usually we're in training camp and you're like, oh, there goes Mike's hamstring. You know, he's going to miss a couple of days or a couple of weeks. And he always comes back from it. Like he's the type of guy that loves to power through his own adversity. And I think we just forget sometimes how immensely talented you have to be to do that. And he just is. He's fun to watch, and he's a great ambassador in our community. So everybody loves him. You know, he'll be fine. If he plays tonight, it'll be really good for this team, especially if Emeka doesn't play. Emeka's injury, by the way, last week, I was watching it on the film. I never saw it grab. I never saw him like reach for the back of his hamstring. So the fact that he might play probably means that it just got tight at some point, and they decide out of the abundance of caution that, you know, this sensation shouldn't keep going. We should try to make sure he's available since we don't have any other receivers active. So hopefully they both get a chance to play. But you know, Emeka and Mike Evans in the same lineup, that's tough to deal with for any defense, especially one that's missing 4 secondary players, I think, right?
Yeah.
Detroit tonight.
I when I think of Mike Evans, I just will never forget the victory lap that he basically took last year when he finally tied the record with Jerry Rice, 11th straight season with 1,000 yards receiving. And he was so excited, but he was also just so fired up. And that was just such a cool moment. And I'll never forget the look on his face. So he's so consistent. He has been for so long, to TJ's point, and no matter who the quarterback is, Mike Evans has always been the one to show up. And now you got Egbuka too. Like, what? Come on. He's been so dominant this year. But in general, when the Bucs play the Lions, do you get a little nostalgic because of your past performance against them? And that game, what was it? 2008-ish, around then?
Yes. Yes. There was, what year was it? I think it was 2008. I think you're right. I mean, obviously I played in the NFC Central before it became the North. So I came into the league playing against the Lions, Vikings, Packers. So I've got a lot of history. I played against Barry Sanders twice a year. That was fun. That was awesome.
I'm sure.
But yeah, there was a point in my career. I presume you're talking about the point in my career, Colleen, where it was almost towards the end, and then I had there was a thought that I was going to get replaced in Tampa by some younger corners, and I hadn't really done anything that year, and I was set to get benched that day prior to this game in Detroit.
No way.
And ultimately Monty decided not to do it. Let Ronde go out there and play. He's been doing this forever for us. Ended up with two interceptions and a touchdown. And I played 4 more years after that. And the thought of me not me being on the field was gone.
That is okay. Wow. Talk about playing under pressure and with a deadline. We were talking earlier about the Broncos just saving themselves for the fourth quarter.
Oh, God.
This is your version of that. Oh, you want to bench me? Hold on a second. Wait, I got a little something for you. That is awesome. Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah, that's part of my Hall of Fame story, Colleen.
Yeah. Always
dealing with adversity.
Yeah. What was it like going up against Barry Sanders?
Oh, not good.
What did that feel like?
Right. They have these old posters that they had around the building back at old One Buck. And it's me and Barry Sanders kind of in the hole. I'm kind of going up to tackle him. And I know for a fact, it looks like I probably would have got him on the ground, but I know for a fact that he ran right by me. But it's a really cool, it's kind of like that. I'm almost touching him. And it's oh, did you tackle Barry right here? No, I didn't even get close to him. It's
just the air behind him.
Fortunately for me, I only played against him 1 year because in 97 when I got drafted, I didn't play much, but in 98 I played both times we played Detroit, and he retired the next year. So I didn't have to deal with them much, but the few times that I did was not always great.
A real treat.
Yes. Yeah. That's what you call a treat.
Well, it has been a real treat watching Baker Mayfield do the things that he's done with this team and really kind of turn the narrative around about himself in the league. Because I think about how people thought about him when he was with the Browns, and he was not living up to his expectations because of the situation that he was in. And then when he and Sam Darnold were with the Panthers, and he signs this 1-year deal with Tampa Bay and then absolutely goes out and just destroys it and does in a perfect way, in a great way. He kills it out there. And
I agree.
I think that he's become such a likable character in the NFL. And that was not where his reputation was in the beginning of his career. And I think this is a league where it's really hard to change the narrative of when you come into this league. It's usually that first impression, to our point, talking about Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold and Jared Goff. You are judged on how you first come into this league, and then it's really difficult to come back from that. But Baker Mayfield has done it, and I just think that is such a testament to his work ethic and just the fact that he's always playing with this chip on his shoulder. Ronde, I
got a great story for you about this. So same thing about Baker. I had the same opinion, and partly it was true, right? Baker was in number 1 pick of the draft. You can't discount the fact that the league just made him the number 1 pick in the draft with Cleveland when he was drafted by Cleveland. But I had the same opinion of Baker, and he was probably immature, right? He probably did some things wrong or that he would rather do over. But he's matured since he's got to Tampa, right? He's married now. Him and Emily have kids, and he is this guy that really has great balance in his life now. But I remember the year Jason Light signed him. I was going out to Tahoe to play in American Century, right? And Jason called me. He's like, "Hey, you might see Baker out there. Tell him how, try to get to know him a little bit. Say hello." Right? As fate would have it, we get paired together one day, okay? And I'm out there with my buddy Nick. He's my caddy, that all the time caddy here in Tampa. I take him out there, and he goes, "Oh my God, are we playing with Baker Mayfield?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we're playing with Baker." He goes. I can't stand Baker Mayfield. I'm like, "Oh, Nick, you're gonna find out today. We're gonna be with them for 5 hours, dude."
Oh my God.
by the end of that round, I'm going to make a long story really short. By the end of that round, Nick goes, I love Baker Mayfield. Yeah, you just get around them, and it kind of coincides with another story I have. That first week that he was in Tampa, I remember I went to a Lightning game, and we're actually going to the same suite, to Steve Griggs, the president's suite. And Baker's walking down the hall. He's got Tristan Wirfs, I think Luke Gedeke was with them. There was another offensive lineman, Kyle Trask, whom he was competing with for the starting job, was there. This is the first day he's in Tampa, and he is leading this pack, walking to this suite. It's just, he has this natural charisma and leadership ability about him that everybody buys into. So you say, how do you change the narrative about yourself? You do it by doing. You don't do it by like talking or like, hoping that it materializes into something you want. You go out and get out in front of it and be a captain, represent what the C really means. And he, in every single way, he's done that here in Tampa. I mean, we talk about this now getting recognition, but he's been doing this for 3 years. Mm-hmm. The last year was a career year for him in terms of yards and touchdowns, and obviously threw a lot of interceptions, but he's got one this year. He's cleaned up the things that he wanted to work on this year. And now it's starting to look like, man, this is the guy that was the number one pick in the draft all those years ago. So I'm happy for him, man. I love the dude. I'll stand on the sideline before the game last week. He's got that headbutt thing, and I kind of gave him a little low five, and I said, "Don't you headbutt me, dude." He's just that guy, man. You just love the guy. He's fun to watch, and he's such a great competitor.
He really
He's been great for Tampa.
He's cool. He's calm. He's confident. He has that swagger, and that just is contagious throughout the entire locker room. It's been really fun to watch. It's been awesome talking with you, Ronde. When I asked you if you would come by, I said that, the Eagles, this was before yesterday. I said the Eagles, they haven't been doing that great, so you can throw some punches at them if you want, like as part of the, come on the show, hang out. I'll just, as I say goodbye, I will hit you with a go Birds. Sorry, we didn't get to that. We ran out of time, and they also won. But also, go Bucs, and thank you for coming by today. Great to see you as always, my friend.
Good to see you, Colleen. I'll see you again, bud.
Hey, you made it all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Check us out every single day streaming live on Disney Plus and the ESPN app 12 to 3 Eastern.